Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Spoil my intro, why don't you?
No.
I'm Donagh McKeown,
I'm Michael Scott, hello.
and welcome to another Your Lurgan podcast. For you on a Sunday morning, we're actually recording this at a slightly different time for slightly different reasons. The location will be apparent if you are watching. It won't if you aren't. Just let's say we're at the lakes here in Craigavon. We're at the South Lake. We're just to our right is the South Lake Leisure Centre. Behind that again, the council buildings for ABC Council. And to our left, the wonderful, let me see, is this the North Lake or the South? This is the South Lake, obviously. And
There's a big clue there, Donagh, on the side of the wall there. It says South Lake Leisure Centre.
Yes. So I knew it was South Lake Leisure Centre, but I forgot that the lake attached to it was the South Lake. Listen, I'm challenged by too many birthdays, so we'll move from there.
We'll let you off.
So welcome. We're right into what's happening here, or what has happened here. I think that's how the podcast is starting.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stories we're going to be focusing on happen within a very short radius of where we're standing today, because it's just been a massive week of stories. We've had a great response online to some of these stories we've had, but I suppose the reason why we're here is because we want to talk about what has happened in relation to the park. And I know you've been out talking to some of the campaigners this week. For those of you who don't know, there was a campaign obviously to try and... So we'll go back to the very start. So our Southern Regional College had submitted plans to build a new college over yonder, where basically in the middle of Craigavon City Park, and a number of local residents thought that this wasn't known. They got planning approval from the council. They thought, hang on a minute, this isn't right. This is an area of natural beauty. We want to see this grow and prosper. So they fought the decision, and on Tuesday morning, was it, Donagh? Must have been Tuesday. It was Tuesday morning. Word came through that following a judicial review, they had won. Which, if you think about it, is quite an achievement. I was surprised. I honestly didn't think it would, just given the fact that it was the council, SRC, a lot of big bodies there, and you think about how this was basically, it was one person who had taken the legal challenge. Fair enough, it had a lot of people behind them, but the fact that People Power has won in the end is quite an astonishing result. And when you think the rights or the wrongs of whether or not the college should have been built here, it's a fantastic achievement.
It's the best example you find locally of People Power starting off with one voice, quickly becoming 3 or 4, and then up to 6,000 or 7,000 local people gathering signatures from all around the place, some online, some personally, of people who were concerned about what had been going on. They wanted to protect and save their park, quite rightfully. But I think it's also an example that because a big body or two say they've made a decision or are working forward, and then to see that reverse is the big story. But it's also the absolute right of every individual to challenge what they believe is not in their and everybody else's bigger interest. And the biggest point of it all, I suppose, is the fact that the decision that was upheld, their decision was not upheld, it was reversed the decisions that had been made elsewhere, and it was based around planning permission, that the planning permission sought and the procedure for that was incorrect.
Yeah.
And that was the core of their defence and their whole campaign, as it were.
And I think it's fair to say that the decision that's been reached by the Court of Appeal has been widely welcomed. Now, I totally get why Southern Regional College would want to build a new campus here in this part or in this area. I mean, you think about what we have around us. We've got this fantastic leisure centre here. We've got the council buildings over here. You have the shopping centre over there. We'll come back to that later. But it's a fantastic spot. They want to obviously amalgamate the Lurgan and Portadown campuses, and it made sense. It made sense, but at the end of the day, you can't go rip it up areas of beauty to try and build a brand new facility. That's basically
I
what
think
we've
that's
come to.
something that it certainly won't now get lost in, that this is not wanting a university or a higher college in this area.
Mm-hmm.
It's just perhaps the choice of where you decide to plant that. There's been no contention from most people that I've ever been talking to. It's anecdotal, of course, that there are plenty of other locations that SRC and others could find. So go look for them.
There's no doubt as well that they do need a new campus, because you look at the Banbridge campus at the minute. It's far changed from my days there. A fantastic facility they have there. Armagh, which has just recently opened as well. They've got a brand new campus which replaced what was a fallen down building, let's be quite honest, and what a building it is. Beautiful. And the plans they had for here were spectacular, but it's just the wrong place at the end of the day, and that's what has been found.
It's easy to be the planners after the event. You know that I come from the point of being part of Love Lurgan. It's a centre of population. This area is a centre of no population. Is it to try and attract more people to a centre of no population where they have arterial route difficulties that anybody can see if they increase traffic? Could there be another place that they could put it? Could it be closer to Lurgan or Portadown? You fight the battle of which then, and then that enhances all around it. It brings business to the area. It means encouragement of people to look to live closer to Lurgan again, perhaps even in the town centre, and it brings up all boats of areas that are suffering.
Yeah, well,
these are counter arguments.
Yeah, I suppose we should say as well, to be fair to them, the council have accepted the decision and are considering their options. The SRC haven't made any comment back this week. Don't start me on them. But anyway, they haven't come back to our request for a comment. We understand they will probably go back to the drawing board and look at something else. I don't know where they go. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of places they could go, but this just isn't the place for them, according to the Court of Appeal.
The one of the core things that, and you'll see it on this report. Let's just give you a wee bit of a flavour of what was said. You've probably seen the report yourself, or seen the interview yourself with those who are from Save the City Park group.
On Tuesday morning, we woke up with a phone call from our solicitor to tell us that we had won the Court of Appeal and that the lakes are now safe. City Park is now safe. SRC planning application was ruled as unlawful, and the planning permission was, I think the word was expunged, but the planning permission has been cancelled. So the lakes are safe. Our City Park is safe. All this is safe.
How did you feel?
Oh my god, I cannot tell you how happy I was, because this campaign has taken over 6 years of our lives. 6 years. It should never started. It did. However they managed it, they awarded planning permission, and it took over. You know, you were walking around here thinking, oh my god, how can they take this away? They can't take this away. This is our special place. This is the place that, you know, it's one of my favourite places in the whole world. You know? So it's safe.
Helen.
Incredibly emotional, it was the first thing, and happily surprised, but there was a part of me that was worried. I think we all were, that it might not go our way, and the fact that it did, it was just, I was totally elated. And then really very quickly I got really very angry about how it got to this point, and what they had put us through, the council had put us through for the 6 years that they've put us through this, and about the realisation that they really didn't care. They really, really underestimated the groundswell of opinion against what they were attempting to do.
So from that, Michael, they're looking forward. They're looking to protect the park even more, so that nothing resembling the campaign that they had to run for 6 years will ever happen again. But they're clear very much in their desire for some sort of apology, as you like, and you know, it's the whataboutery kind of things. What about this that you did? What about this that you did? But they believe that they have a clear demand that they're continuing to hold.
There's that, and the fact that we know, well, we don't know the exact sums. We're trying to find out. We've submitted an FOI to try and find out, but the amount of money that's been spent on this, ratepayers' money, on this needs examined, and as they say, whoever made the decision and got it wrong needs to be held to account. But like I think the other thing as well that the campaigners were saying as well, just to move it on a bit about this fantastic park that we have here, they want to see that developed, because obviously we've got some great fantastic parks in this part of the world. Obviously Lurgan Park, Tattagmore Gardens, Oxford Island, which we'll come to again as well, and there's no reason, consider what we have here. You've got this fantastic leisure centre, as I pointed out here. You're within walking distance of one of the best shopping centres in the country. You've got the Ministry of Businesses or offices here, the council, a fantastic lake, water sport facilities. This could be a fantastic, like even the cafe in there is brilliant.
It's an incredible cafe.
It's an incredible spot.
Run by Cafe Incredible.
Very good. It's a fantastic facility here, and it needs even the park run that happens here on a Saturday morning. It gets incredible numbers because it's such a good run.
Yeah,
and I
think you remember the live we did from the 10th anniversary. Yeah.
So I mean, certainly, I know the campaigners are looking for an apology. Maybe one of the best apologies they could get would be to see this place developed into something that is, it gives a full benefit. It sees its full potential, and could really help attract people into the area in a different way.
On a separate it's the same story, but it's a separate side issue from it. I think what was a disappointment to the campaigners, they did it on their own, was the lack of support from many of the political representatives of the area, and that was clear. There were one or two who stood out, but they were only one or two. So is it a time for the kind of councillors to come and nod towards them and said, we didn't read this situation well?
Well, I mean, we're pre-recording this.
Yes.
And there's talk that there could be an election coming up very soon.
Yes.
And I'm sure people who will have their doors wrapped in the coming weeks, if that happens. Of course, by the time we put this out, it could be knocked in the head. But there'll be I'm sure there'll be a chance in the very near future
for to get across,
for those for the politicians to answer those questions. Yeah.
So shall we move on?
I think we should, and we'll move on from there to there. Craigavon Shopping Centre. Sorry, not called Craigavon Shopping Centre. Hasn't been called that in a long time. The shopping centre in Craigavon, Rushmere, sold this week.
Just let the traffic go by as they.
Yeah. He's putting his earplugs on for obvious reasons.
Nothing you said, but don't worry.
No. We'll explain what's going on here in a minute. But it's been sold. Rushmere has been sold for 56 million. They were asking for 57. 56 isn't bad.
Was that because you put a story out about it? Do you think the buyers have seen your story, Michael, and said, we're going to buy that? I think they did.
I'll take the credit for it. I want my cut.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I only want a couple of million. I don't want a whole pile. Just a couple of million will do right now. But yeah, it's been sold, which means the future of the shopping centre is secure, and the retail park, which is great. Obviously a lot of interest in that story because it's been shared so many times in our social media. I can't believe how popular that story was. But I mean, great times for the shopping centre. Obviously, big developments coming there soon. Primark, we know, are opening in the next few weeks. So that's a good news story.
More employment, more opportunities to shop. I understand that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a good news story for there. Obviously, we'd like to see more done to promote shopping in other areas.
Of course, and not detracting from other shopping areas to do so. Alternative shopping, the way things are in town centres now, it has to be alternative. It has to be a reason for going to those shops.
You have to give credit to the previous owners for the development of what, I mean, I'm sure you remember long before I do, whenever it was just crazy prices there.
Absolutely, it was the white elephant of Craigavon, and now it's where you can get elephants in various stores. I like elephants. It's a good place.
Do you know, my wee man started singing a song about elephants that he has picked up at nursery school, about them having wrinkles, and the only places that don't have wrinkles apparently is their eyeballs. So there you go. Interesting. But
so just to say that the noise in the background, they're in preparation for a story that we'll be talking about in a moment or two. So
they're putting them up specifically for our story. No other reason. What else are we going to talk about? Oh yeah, we'll go back. We'll talk about the story you put out at the start of the week. Sticking with the theme of parks, Oxford Island. That was just a story you sort of stumbled across.
Absolutely. My intention was to go down and do another group of stories, because we talked in the last podcast and subsequently about promoting some of the tourist areas that seem to have either gotten overlooked or need a little bit of a push to make people appreciate that we really do have an attractive area to bring people to. So I was on my way. I'd been to Lurgan Park, filmed a little bit, and I was filming a bit around Oxford Island, and I stumbled across one of the bird huts. I didn't stumble, I knew it was there. I was going in to look at it, but I didn't expect what I saw. I saw 3 photographers, high-end photographers, real photographers, professional, taking photographs out of the hut, as it were. And I had a conversation with one of them, Mark McGee, who's from Lisburn, and this is how the report kind of started.
Camouflage on the lens and put up a screen here in front of us, sort of way to protect us a little bit.
How long have you been coming here?
Over 15 years.
And how have you seen this place? This, to me, looks like it's great to have somewhere to shoot like this. What are your thoughts?
It's great in a way where, 15 years ago it was different because, it was better. They've lost any interest in it. There's no maintenance to the hides at all. For instance, they built a playgroup park out there, which I don't have a problem with the playgroup. The kids need somewhere to play, but this is a nature reserve. They should have put it somewhere closer over to the centre to have it in a more centralised area. You could be sitting here for 4 or 5 hours, which we have been doing, and waiting for the kingfisher. Next minute, the kingfisher lands, and you got about 14 kids running up the thing. And what I would like to do is approach the council, like ourselves, all here, and ask to take the hides over as a going concern, where we look after, maintain the hides. We pay an annual fee to the council to do that. So if you have, I would be happy enough to pay £100 a year for a membership if I know it's going to be exclusive and you're going to be kept private and out of the road from people just walking in and spooking the birds. I mean, this hide and the other big hide in the middle there would be ideal if they were managed correctly.
So that was Mark McGee. Interesting story. He had a few gripes, if you like, but a positivity about the beauty of the place. That was also at the core of it too.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's fair points to make. The new play park has attracted great numbers.
And it's a great
we've spoken about my likes and dislikes of that park before.
Yes.
How you can't see anything over the middle, but it's a great park and kids love it. But then that has an impact on wildlife as well. But I mean, again, another opportunity for some good to come out of a story that we're bringing people. Perhaps maybe the council could take a look at that and the opportunity and look at hand it over to the guys and let them say, right, you run it.
I love conversations, Michael, where it comes to, yes, you can knock this one and you can knock that one, but when you're offering solutions to a way forward, that's always a positive for me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what we're all about, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
our fourth story. Oh, we're going to move on to another story which you did, which I thought was really, really good this week. The pieces you did about Frank Toman. We spoke about him last week in his passing last week.
Yes, absolutely. He was a legend, as I think I got to say at the start of the report, a legend I grew up with. I saw him before I went to secondary school, winning the first of 2 All-Ireland football medals in a senior team that were only usually mixed of 17 and 18-year-olds, and Frank was right in the middle of them as a 14-year-old. So he was remarkable from that age. His stocky build, his ability to balance, and his ability to kick a ball, mostly with his left foot, was incredible. And then later in life, he took that on to play for Clonerne, for Armagh, and then for Lurgan Rugby. And he played soccer too. I'm not sure just which soccer teams. You could add to it the story yourself as to which ones. He was incredible, much loved, an attitude of how can I help you? Never an attitude of I'm superior to you. How can I help you? That's laudable in any of us. Never judged anyone on that basis, I'm sure. Quite a funny man, quite a quiet man. And then part of it, as you see, I went also up to Lurgan Rugby Club, where he's held in deep regard as well. And his funeral, well, it's more of a cremation, will happen next Sunday. Here's a little bit of that report.
On the first photograph, I'm here at the very extreme end. Frank is the captain wearing red with the trophy in front of him. That's Clonaire's first juvenile trophy that the club ever won. The following year, I'm here, second from the end in the back row. Frank again, centre, holding the ball and the trophy, which was the minor team that we played together in our own, sorry. And,
Was Frank the captain of that team?
Frank was captain of both teams, 68 and 69. He was an inspirational captain, by the way, and I'm sure that goes without saying that anyone you've ever spoken to would tell you that. Frank was a very unassuming guy, not the typical captain that would come and bawl you out or come and destroy you for having a bad game. Frank would encourage you.
You mean North first? We were playing, I think it was their seconds, and we got this penalty, and it was inside our half, in and around about our 10-metre line, and we're wondering what to do. And Frankie says, "I fancy a go at that." North first, they were senior league at the time. This is the old North ground, which is down off the Armagh Road, and we were in the second pitch, and there's this big crowd down. And he sets it up, and the North boy says, "What's he think he's going on?" And they're all very posh accent. And I goes, "Just watch." And he stuck it over the back wall into the estate. And it was still going up as it went over the wall.
I don't think the ball was ever retrieved.
Probably landed in the leg. But that's
It was heading for the leg in the last the ball was seen, it was heading for the leg. And
The late and the very great Frank Toman. So yeah.
We'll talk about Gaelic. So that brings us nicely on the lot there. A disappointing week. You were out last week at Clonaireland Ladies. They lost. St. Peter's also lost. Disappointing week.
St. Paul's.
St. Paul's, I apologise.
Absolutely, yeah. So, two teams. I suppose was more difficult for St. Paul's. Eugene covered that game, of course, and they lost in the last kick of extra time, as it were, to a team who I think, by their own admissions, actually didn't deserve to win. But the circumstances were that, but it was controversial, and then they were completely deflated. But well done to them for getting to the final. They will go no further. The other hand was a match played at the same time in County Monaghan with the ladies of Clonaireland, the senior ladies, and it was in Donagh. So the game is over. It hasn't gone Clonaireland's way. It's 2-13 to 7 points. Big disappointment for yourselves, Niamh and Matty. You're the man. You're the captain here, and we're putting you in the spot here because it's easy to talk when you win, but it's hard to talk when you've lost. How are you feeling, and what are you taking from the game?
Do you know what? We came into this game with nothing to lose, so we just said we'll go out, we'll try our best, put it up to them. Few hard decisions there throughout the match, but I think the girls didn't give up, and we did what we had to do this year. We won the Marie Hoy Cup and we got it back, so that's our main takeaway from this year.
And every last Clonaireland fan and anybody from Lurgan that knows yourself and Clonaireland are more than proud of you. Take that with you too for today.
Yeah, definitely. No, the supporters have been great throughout the whole year, and so proud of all the girls and delighted with this year, and just a big thank you to James for managing us this year and getting us where we needed to be. But today in this match, we just know the level is so high in Ulster, and that's what we need to strive towards as well.
And that's what you're going to aspire to next.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
And you'll be there. You'll be there. Thank you very much. Thank you.
bother.
And I'll let you join your friends and teammates.
What a player. Okay, chat to you soon, okay.
So in the end, disappointment, and yet a lot of pride, Michael, for Clonaireland to have been there, and I think their main objective this season was to retain the Marie Hoy Cup. Marie Hoy had been a player with Clonaireland for so many years. The cup, the county cup, was named after her. So their objective was achieved, but there was disappointment among the camp, quite obviously. And then their manager announced that it was his kind of final game with the team. He's away back to Fermanagh. And I think we caught Eugene on that as an exclusive. He then was able to report from our report that he in fact was finishing. So we're making the news as well as reporting it too.
Not making up the news, by the way. We don't do that.
No. I've known to make up a few things, but that's only my role as a storyteller, and it's a different role than this one. So yeah, disappointing week.
Yeah. Football. Glenavon played on Friday night this week, which is fantastic. We play Ballymena at Moorview, and of course we don't know how the game's gone, so you're about to find out.
I love this bit. Here's Michael's report from after the game.
What a night at Moorview Park. Glenavon getting the win in the end, a 3-2 victory over Ballymena United. Absolutely fantastic performance. They fell behind very much against their own play towards the end of the first half. Glenavon absolutely battered Ballymena in the first half and probably should have been 3 or 4 up. In fact, if you go through the game, they probably had 5 or 6 chances cleared off the line. It was Jordan Gibson from Donagh, of course, the local lad, who opened the scoring, scored a towering header from a corner to give United the lead going into the half-time break. But then, as the teams came out for the second half, Glenavon, fair play, came out very, very strongly and got their just rewards. Just minutes into the second half, really, to be honest. Matthew Fitzpatrick, again, another header from a corner, which probably wasn't a corner, to be quite honest. The replay seemed to suggest that it wasn't. Of course, the game was on TV. So that was 1 each. It was then 2-1 to Glenavon. Danny Wallace, of all people, the defender, scored a fantastic overhead kick, took it really well, again from another corner. So to give Glenavon a 2-1 lead, but the lead didn't last very long because it was 2-2 very quickly whenever Conor Keeley levelled the scores. A goal from another corner. Corner comes in, it's cleared out to Keeley in the edge of the box. He hits it low and it goes through pretty much every defender and all the attackers too to make it 2 each. So, game evenly poised. Glenavon go up on the attack again, not to be deterred. They go 3-2 up through Jack Malone from the penalty spot after Matthew Fitzpatrick was fouled in the box. Great penalty by Malone as well, who was outstanding. Again, you have to really do think that the midfield pairing of Malone and Isaac Bird's starting to show real fruition there. So 3-2 was the score. Then Ballymena get a penalty of their own after Davy McDade was fouled in the penalty box. But on this occasion, Rory Brown came to the rescue, dived to his right. Have to work out which side it was. Dived to his right to save from Ryan Wade, and then from there on, Glenavon went on and secured the 3 points. Great win. Only problem is now that Glenavon have 3 or 4 very tough games coming up. With Cliftonville next Saturday. Then the following Tuesday, Glentoran. Then the following Saturday, it's Linfield, a game which is going to be used as a trial for VAR. We'll probably talk about that next week. And then I think it's Coleraine the week after that. So 4 very tough games come for Glenavon. Points desperately needed, and they've got them. So a big night for Glenavon. And yeah, Gary Hamilton very pleased with the side's performance after the game. Happy days, happy days.
I think this is the most surreal part of our whole broadcast. I mean, there's probably people watching say this is all surreal, but the fact that you can go to the future, back to the future, past, I love it.
Modern technology. We're like Marty McFly and what do you call him, Doc?
Doc. You can. I can be Marty. No. I think I'm the Doc.
I think you have to be Doc
character.
Yeah. But yeah, so interesting.
It was a bit of a lift though. That Glenavon lifted themselves from disappointment and they won the previous game to this one.
Yeah, Big Carrick Rangers last Saturday. Deserved win, 4-2. They had put in 2 really strong performances against Crusaders and Linfield in the week beforehand and hadn't got anything from them and deserved something from both games. So to finally get a win after what had been a tough few weeks for Gary Hamilton on the side was really good to see. And hopefully Glenavon have beaten Ballymena, because Ballymena haven't been going well recently. It would lift Glenavon, closer into that sort of the area they want to be, challenging for a place in the top 6, which is great. That's where they want to be.
Because being in the top 6 towards the end of the season means that they're in that round robin series again.
Yeah, so the top 6. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, most of the top 6 won't have a say in how the league's going to, or have a say in how they're going to finish in terms of winning the league. But they still have a good chance of qualifying for Europe through the Europa League playoffs. So the top 6 you're guaranteed automatically. 7th place in the bottom 6 means you qualify for those playoffs as well. So that's a little bit of incentive as well. But I think if Glenavon can make it in the top 6, it means they'll have maybe 4 or 5 games which they could sort of focus or take the pressure off and sort of, what's the words I'm trying to say here? Just focus on those playoff games. But I mean, if it's bottom 6 and have to finish 7th to play in those playoffs, Glenavon are quite happy to do that. They've done it before. They'll do it again. But they have to get there first.
They like to be in with a shout of it.
Yeah, need to get there first.
We talked last week though, and I don't. Maybe it's emerged and I missed it. No appointment news on Northern Ireland manager, or did I miss that?
No, nothing sorted yet. I think it'll be a while yet. So no, they're still looking at their options on that one. Still good.
You and I aren't included.
I think Neil Lennon had declared an interest in it, from what I hear through other people.
That would be quite interesting.
So that would be quite
interesting. And
interesting.
I've heard this debate on either sides. Why would he bother? And that would be a real step forward, and all sorts of stuff. There's mixed opinion and views on that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but we'll see what happens. I think the front runner at the minute is still Michael O'Neill. So
the previous manager.
Yeah. But as I said last week, maybe it's not always a good idea to go back. I'd be happy with it. I'd be happy enough.
Just quickly ask, how many Prime Ministers has there been since the last podcast? Just to check.
Jeez, I don't know. 2?
2, okay. Just checking.
Well, that's pretty much it. The last thing we've got to talk about is what's going on behind us. They're setting up for the fireworks, which are taking place on Thursday evening, or have taken place on Thursday evening, I should say.
Of which hopefully you've watched the live outburst, of course. And here's a quick flash from that. So fireworks are plenty in all that we're talking about today. The fireworks, I suppose, there's always this, recently anyway, controversy about them. It annoys the dogs. Is it environmentally friendly and all sorts of stuff?
There was a big row, if you recall, back in the summer, wasn't it, about the fireworks in Lurgan Park?
Jubilee
weekend?
Event, yeah.
But I think out here, it's a wide enough space. There's plenty. I think there's never really been any complaints about them going off down here, as far as I'm aware. So,
well, I think you'll hear the complaints from bird lovers, and wildlife and stuff like that. That's the obvious thing. And there are routes around it, aren't there? You can go with the drones. That's the way forward for lots of places.
Yeah, I've noticed that they do that quite a bit now over in London. That the fireworks on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
It's quite spectacular, actually. Some of them, but
absolutely.
It's just not the same as a big loud pop and it's just not the same.
I tell you what, we'll give you those, like a silent disco. You go to the disco and they give you headphones, and you can hear John Travolta do or whatever it is. We can give you headphones that you can hear the sound. And I have seen this done before at fireworks. In fact, a radio station I would have worked for in England, the BBC Hereford and Worcester, where the fireworks music, because it was over such a wide area, they actually coordinated that the button was pushed either in the television studio or in the radio studio as it was about to fire.
I'm convinced that's what they do. They must do that on New Year's Eve as well on the TV. I've seen it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, because now I'm a parent and I'm born now. I don't go out New Year's Eve anymore, and I've sort of noticed that's what they do.
Thank you, all those who are parents. Please don't be offended by Michael's attitude.
I know how you feel. We'll get through it together. That's pretty much it from the podcast this week. Except to remind everybody to keep on sharing. Listen, we've been getting a lot of stories coming in over the last wee while. People sending us messages on Facebook, which is great. That's what we want to see. We want to be part of the community, and we need you to tell us what's going on, because we can't be everywhere, so we need you to help us out. So if you've got anything you want to see us cover, by all means drop me an email, info@yourlurgan.com, or just send us a message on social media, because we're on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube
and LinkedIn. I nearly always catch you on that. Been a pleasure to be part of the podcast today and continuing. Thank you. I'm Donagh McKeown.
I'm Michael Scott.
See you soon.